Hey guys, Vic from Airbowl here, your trusted Canadian CPAP supplier. Oh, I guess you guys can't see me. Your trusted Canadian CPAP supplier, and in today's video, we're going to go over the ResMed AirMini, which is probably our most hotly debated device that we carry. It's the one that we get the most inquiries on, and people have the most interest. It's ResMed's flagship travel device, simply the palm size of the palm of your hand, and it has various setup packs depending on which mask you wanted to choose. So in today's video, I'm going to go over each setup pack, which one you should choose based on the mask you've already been using, as well as the accessories you may want to consider to make your therapy the most appropriate fit for your travel needs. All right, so let's get started with what comes with the AirMini device itself. All right, so first we're going to unbox the AirMini device itself. So when you order the AirMini device, it comes in a rectangular shaped box like this that you just slide right out. And there is your AirMini device itself. You also have an instruction manual. The power adapter is on the cardboard box next to it. And then underneath, you also have a drawstring bag that expands pretty big, and you can actually store your AirMini, your power cord, your tubing, as well as a mask in here. So that comes with the AirMini device itself. However, you're probably noticing that there's no tubing or mask in here. So what gives? Well, the AirMini actually has 5 proprietary setup packs. So it has 5 different masks that it adapts to, and it has its own unique tubing called the AirMini tubing. So I'm going to unbox the different setup packs that you could get for it. And depending on which mask you're using, I'll let you know which setup pack to choose. So first, we're going to go over the nasal pillow setup pack that ResMed has for the AirMini, called the AirFit P10 setup pack. So this is the type of setup pack that would be appropriate for you if you're using an in the nostrils nasal pillow mask currently with your home CPAP machine. Examples of this would be the AirFit P10, the P30i, the Dreamwear nasal pillows, or the F&P Solo or Nova Micro mask. So if you're using any masks that have pillows that go in your nostrils, the AirFit P10 setup pack by the Mini would be the most appropriate setup pack for you. So when you unbox this, it does have like a picture graphic showing you how to connect the tubing to the Mini, how to connect the mask to the tubing, as well as how to insert your Humidex cartridge into the AirMini tubing. So travel devices like the AirMini do not use water-based heated humidification and instead have heat moisture exchangers, in this case called a Humidex, that provides a bit of humidity by recycling the moisture of your own breathing. So when you get the setup pack, you can open this card. So here you're going to see the AirFit P10 mask itself, and it does come with a small, medium, and large size in the package. Now, if you have an AirFit P10 mask for your home machine, you probably have one that looks like this that's almost identical to this one. However, the short tubing that comes out of the mask has been altered on this mask. So you'll notice that this one, there's a little, just a 2.5-inch short tubing, whereas the one that you have for your home machine has a 17-inch short tubing. So you would actually need this setup pack ideally to use it with your Mini. This end does not connect to the AirMini tubing. So just keep that in mind when ordering your AirMini. If you did want to make this mask adapted to the AirMini tubing, later in the video, I'll tell you which accessories you have to get. So you don't have to get like the nasal pillows or the headgear, which are actually the same on the P10 mask over here. Okay, so underneath the P10 setup pack mask for the AirMini, if you lift over in that cover, you're going to see 2 little sealed Humidex cartridges. So there's one called the Humidex Plus and one called the Humidex. The Humidex is in blue color and the Humidex Plus is in a charcoal color. Each of these cartridges are valid for 30 days when you open it from its seal. So it's usually recommended to try using the equipment without the cartridges first. If you have enough ambient humidity in the environment, you might not need it. But if you're getting any dryness or congestion, you can start off on the Humidex standard cartridge in the blue first. And if you still needed more humidity, you can replace this one with the Humidex Plus. So, and we do carry these separately for purchase as well, which I'll go over later in this video. So when you get a setup pack, you get 2 of those Humidex cartridges. And then underneath, you also have your proprietary AirMini tubing. So one end of this tubing, the gray end, actually goes into the machine, just like the picture describes. And then the other end of the tubing connects to the bottom end of the mask itself. So you're basically going to take that mask out and you're just going to hook up the connector over here. And this tubing connection is why the AirFit P10 for your home machine would not connect to this. You actually need this frame system swap over for it. Inside the housing gap for this connection is where your Humidex cartridge would sit. So if you were using the Humidex, you would put it in there with the colored side facing downward into the tubing, and then you would just screw this on. And then you would have adequate humidity for about 30 days. So that's how you basically get the P10 setup pack for the AirMini, and this is the mask recommended for nasal pillow users. All right, so the next setup pack we have here is the N30 setup pack for the AirMini. So with this type of mask, you want to get it if you're used to using an under-the-nose nasal mask with your existing home CPAP machine. So for example, that would be the AirFit N30, the AirFit N30i, the Dreamwear under-the-nose mask, or the Fisher & Paykel Solo under-the-nose mask. So any mask that goes under your nose but not in your nostrils, this N30 setup pack for the AirMini would be the most suitable mask for you. So you're going to slide it open, and when you open up the box, again, you have like the picture card showing you how to connect your AirMini, how to connect the Humidex cartridge within your AirMini tube, and then how to connect the tubing to your device itself. So we're going to open that cover over, and now you will see the under the nose N30 mask, which also comes as a fit pack with all the sizes in the package. Now, just like the AirFit P10 that we went over earlier, the AirFit N30 mask also has a difference from the home machine compared to the travel device. So if you're using an AirFit N30 with your home machine, you would have a mask just like this with a 17-inch short tubing that connects to the main tubing of your home device. This tubing will not work with the AirMini device because the AirMini tubing is specific. You'll see that the N30 that comes with the AirMini has an altered short tubing, which has one end for the housing of the Humidex cartridge, and that's the part that connects onto the AirMini tubing. So just like the P10 setup pack before, when we remove the mask, you're going to see the AirMini tubing, as well as the two Humidex cartridges, the Humidex Standard and the Humidex Plus. Now, the AirMini tubing and those two Humidex cartridges are the same on the P10 setup pack as well as on this mask. The only difference is the mask that connects to the tubing itself. So for under the nose nasal mask users, the N30 setup pack is made for you. All right, next up for the last nasal option for the AirMini, we have the N20 setup pack for the Mini. So when you slide this one over, it's again going to show a picture card. Now, this type of mask is recommended, this type of setup pack, I should say, is recommended for people that use a standard over-the-nose nasal mask. So if you use a nasal mask with a cushion that covers your entire nose, then this N20 setup pack would be the most suitable for you. The N20 setup pack doesn't actually come with the mask itself. You do need to get the AirFit N20 mask separately. And for example, I do have the N20 mask right here on my hand. So this is what the N20 mask would look like. You can get it in small, medium, or large. It's one of ResMed's flagship over-the-nose nasal mask. So you would get this mask. It does come with a tubing adapter for your home machine when you get the N20 mask. So you could use it with your large home machine as well. But when using it with the AirMini N20 setup pack, you're going to disconnect the original short tubing that comes with the N20. And in the N20 setup pack box, you actually have a short tubing already fixated to the AirMini tubing that connects directly to the N20 mask. So it just snaps on there. And then on the bottom part of that little short tubing connection, you do have the housing for your Humidex cartridge. And just like the N30 and the P10 setup pack before, you do get the Humidex and the Humidex Plus cartridge with the N20 setup pack as well. So for those that use an over-the-nose nasal mask, this N20 setup pack is recommended for you. Just keep in mind you have to get the N20 mask separately. It doesn't come included in the setup pack. So you would get the AirFit N20 and the N20 setup pack if this is the setup that you wanted to choose. So now we're going to go over the full face mask options for the ResMed AirMini. So starting off with the F20 setup pack. So if you use a standard full face mask, one that covers your nose and your mouth, so the cushion of your mask sits atop the bridge of your nose and also covers down below your bottom lip, then the F20 setup pack would be the most appropriate mask for you. So opening up the box, you do get that picture showing you how to connect everything again. And then on the inside, you have the AirMini tubing with the F20 connector already connected to it. And you'll notice that there is no mask in this package. So just like the N20 setup pack, you do need to get the AirFit F20 mask separately for this. Now with the F20, you're going to see a couple of variants. There's the AirFit F20, and then there's also the AirTouch F20. You can get either of those for this system. The AirFit F20 is a fully silicone mask, one that you can wash with soap and water. The AirTouch F20 is a memory foam based mask. You can't wash that one, but it is recommended for people with silicone sensitivities. So you would get the F20 of your choice, and then you would get it either in a small, medium, or large based on the size that you need. And this mask can be used with your home CPAP machine, as it originally comes with an elbow adapter that connects to your regular machine's tubing. And the way that you would connect it to the AirMini using this F20 setup pack is by simply ejecting the original elbow and then connecting the elbow that came with the setup pack directly to the mask. And it snaps right on. So you do get that 6-foot AirMini tubing along with this setup. And over here, you will also get what's called the F20 Humidex. Now, the F20 Humidex is unique to the F20 Max. If you notice the previous Humidex cartridges I showed you, it didn't have a mask name on it. Those cartridges will not work with the F20 mask. So this F20 Humidex is specific for this F20 mask. And it actually doesn't fit inside the tubing itself at all. There is no housing for the Humidex in there. This Humidex cartridge actually snaps inside of the cushion into the ports here. So you're basically going to remove the cartridge from this package, and then you're going to snap it inside on the opposite end of the elbow. So the picture that comes with the AirMini also describes this. So that's the picture of the F20. That's the cartridge that goes right in over there. So it's a specific cartridge for the F20. Just keep that in mind when you do your resupplies for the cartridges, and don't make the mistake of getting the ones that only fit the nasal mask. So this is the F20 setup pack. It contains the flagship full face mask by ResMed called the AirFit F20 that you have to get separately when you're going this route. And this is the recommended full face mask setup for the AirMini. Okay, so the last setup pack option you have for the AirMini is also a full face mask, but it's for a hybrid full face mask. This is called the AirMini setup pack for the F30. So if you do use a full face mask, but one that doesn't cover your entire nose, but just sits under the nose, for example, the Dreamwear full face mask, the ResMed F30i, the F30, or the AirTouch F30i, or even a Fisher & Paykel Evora mask, then this F30 setup pack would probably be the most suitable for you. So opening up the box, it does show a picture of the F30 mask that you would need to get separately for this setup pack, and then how it connects to the tubing itself. Underneath, you do have your AirMini tubing, as well as the connector adapter for the F30 mask that's already attached to the AirMini tube. Now, the AirFit F30 mask is this mask right over here. It's a traditional hybrid face mask, so your nose would sit right on top of the groove. You have two openings that provides air pressure to your nostrils, as well as a face seal that covers your mouth to reduce mouth air leaks for mouth breathers. So this is the type of mask suitable for individuals that don't really like having a traditional big full face mask like the F20 covering their entire nose, but want more of a less cumbersome fit. So you would have to get this F30 mask separately, and it comes in either a small or a medium size. This mask, just like the AirFit F20 and the N20 before, can be used with your home machine, as the adapter that the mask comes with will connect to your home machine's tube. But to make it work with this F30 setup pack, you're going to remove the original elbow, and then the elbow connection on the F30 connector in the AirMini tube will directly connect into the mask and snap on place. Now with this F30 setup pack, you're going to notice that there is no Humidex cartridge included. In fact, the F30 mask doesn't have any Humidex compatibility. So just keep that in mind when you're getting this mask. It doesn't have any Humidex option. So depending on where you're traveling to, if the ambient humidity is very dry and you're a full face mask user, we would recommend getting the F20 mask with the F20 setup pack instead, as you do get a Humidex option with this one, but not with this mask. All right, so that was all the 5 different setup packs you can get for the AirMini, but I wanted to touch on some other accessories that you're also going to find that the AirMini has. So let's say you already have an AirFit P10 nasal pillow mask, And you saw that on the P10 setup pack, it shares the same nose pieces and the head straps are identical. It's just a short tubing that's different. So you might be wondering, do I really need to get the entire P10 setup pack where I end up with extra cushions and an extra head strap? Well, not really. Now, while it's recommended to get the setup pack because you would have a completely different mask assembly for your AirMini system, if you wanted to just kind of get this mask adapted to your AirMini, you can actually get the parts from the setup pack rather than the entire setup pack itself. So I'll explain that. So to be able to convert this short tubing adapter into that smaller tubing which has the housing for the AirMini Humidex, you would need an item called the P10 connector. So the P10 connector, and we'll have an image showing up on the screen, is basically the frame system of the P10 for the AirMini. So essentially, if you were using this connector, you would disengage your nose piece and connect it to that connector, as well as these head straps from your existing P10 mask would fit onto this connector here. Now, the short tubing that comes out is the one that matches the tubing end for your AirMini tube. So if you wanted to switch over your P10, you just need to get this P10 connector, as well as the AirMini tubing, which is also sold separately. The AirMini tubing you find in the 5 different setup packs is actually identical. There is no difference in the AirMini tubing itself. The difference in each setup pack is the adapter that connects to the requisite mask, as well as the Humidex cartridges that it may or may not have, depending on the setup pack you go for. So technically, if you already had an AirFit P10 and you wanted to use it with your AirMini, you would just need this AirMini tubing and this P10 connector, and then you're good to go. You can get the Humidex cartridges separately. You can get the Humidex Plus separately. You can also get the Humidex Standard separately, and they're sold in packs of 3 or 6. So you could go that route if you wanted. Additionally, this method is also available for the N30 mask. So let's say you already had the AirFit N30 mask for your home device. Similarly, you just need to get a product called the N30 connector. Okay, so this connector would shift over the frame on this mask. So you're going to basically remove the cushion from your existing AirFit N30, as well as the head straps from your existing N30, and then you would be able to slide it onto the side frame headgears of this N30 mask, as well as put the cushion that you're using on this as well. It then has that altered short tubing that you can use to connect to the AirMini tubing, and then of course you can get the Humidex cartridges separately as well. So this is another option as well if you didn't want to create redundant parts by getting an N30 setup pack or the P10 setup pack. This is only applicable to you if you already had one of these masks for your existing home CPAP device. Okay. Now, another point is if you ever had to switch over masks, let's say you started off on the P10 setup pack for the AirMini, but you maybe found that you mouth breathe and now you need to switch over to a full face mask. Do you need to get a whole different F20 setup pack, for example, to switch over? Well, no, not necessarily. The AirMini tubing you would get with a P10 setup pack is identical, that's already there in the F20 full face mask setup pack. So the only items you would need to get if you're switching over from like a nasal mask to one of the full face mask categories is just the mask itself. So if you chose the F20, you would get the AirFit F20, and then you would get the adapter called the F20 connector. So what that does is it basically replaces this elbow. It's the AirMini elbow that connects onto here, and then you'd be able to connect that elbow directly to your AirMini tubing. And then of course, if you're choosing the F20, just keep in mind it has its own Humidex called the F20 Humidex. Okay, so basically in all setup packs, the AirMini tubing is consistent. The only thing that changes is the requisite adapter. So if you get a P10 setup pack, it comes with this P10 connector and the cushions. If you get an N30 setup pack, the AirMini tubing comes with this N30 connector. If you get an F20 or an F30 setup pack, it comes with the F20/F30 connector, and so on. So that's basically how you would switch over to a different mask once you already had an AirMini tubing. And then this is also covering how you would choose a mask in the first place. Okay. So lastly, I'm going to go over some other accessories that you might want to consider, like a travel case or a battery. All right, guys, so now I'm going to talk about some other accessories you may want to consider when ordering your ResMed AirMini. So If you do go to a place where power might be a little uncertain, then it's highly recommended to get a Zopec Explorer Mini battery with your AirMini device. This is an FAA compliant battery. It has the connectors already for the AirMini as well as the AirSense 11 and the AirSense 10. And it also comes with the USB-C charger and has a 1.5-year warranty. So if you need to use the AirMini on a plane, they won't let you use the power adapter. You'll have to get a battery. Or if you go camping or to a place where you have power uncertainty, then you definitely want to consider a backup battery option for your AirMini. Lastly, you can also consider getting case options for your AirMini. While it does come with a drawstring bag, the drawstring bag doesn't really offer much protection to your AirMini device. So you could get a hard shell travel case. It's a wallet-shaped travel bag that's pretty hardy, and you can actually store your AirMini device itself in this bag. And if you wanted a slightly bigger bag with more compartments for the rest of your accessories, there's the premium soft travel case as well. So a lot of individuals, they'll get a battery with their AirMini as well as the hard shell case. The hard shell case to encapsulate their AirMini for protection, and then the rest of their accessories can go in this travel case. And of course, this hard shell case will fit in the bag as well. Okay, so this basically goes over all of the accessories that you could consider for the AirMini, as well as the different setup pack options. Now, there is also a third-party adapter that you can get for the AirMini to use other masks with the Mini, but since the Mini wasn't really designed for that adapter in mind, it's usually recommended to consider the Transcend Micro or the Breeze Z2 if you weren't interested in using one of the setup packs that come with the AirMini. We hope you found this video useful. If you had any questions or concerns, feel free to comment below and hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for next time.